Discussion board 5. We were asked to watch Stephen Colbert and to read Teaching Tolerance, and then we were supposed to discuss about white privilege and why people get so guilty. I like how that question was phrased, like white privilege is real. Why don't you accept it? Um, well, let's get into that a little bit. I think watching the Colbert show, he's a comedian. Uh, I don't take him very serious. Um, he had DeRay McKeeson on, who's a, I guess, high up member of Black Lives Matter. He organized the Ferguson protest, which he said on the show. I liked the program. He wasn't being serious, kept dodging the question. DeRay was like, "Why do you have white privilege? How do you minimize it?" And he was like, "I drink a lot," or I don't know. My mom was pregnant with me and marching on Wall Street. Okay, not taking it serious. Take that at surface value. I don't know what you expected from Stephen Colbert. Just he's a funny guy. Um, Teaching tolerance. Okay, so that was an interesting piece. It was pretty interesting. I will read you a quote. The Black Student Coalition at my college, for example, lobbied the faculty to diversify the readings for literature class, a required course for first year students. One professor objected, saying, "You want me to replace Chaucer with the likes of Alice Walker? Why do we value Chaucer more than the literary offerings of Alice Walker? Who assigns that value and on what basis?" Well, I'll tell you right now who assigns value. All value is arbitrary. There is no such thing as inherent value. Nothing, maybe the religious community believes that there's inherent value, which that's a whole nother ball of wax we don't need to get into. But something's only valuable because something's only valuable to me because I let it be, or I want it to be, or I make it valuable. Some people, money isn't valuable for them. It really isn't. Not all people value money. Not all people value designer clothes. Not all people desire. It's just whatever you want to put value in. That's what is important. So I guess I don't understand if this professor, right? He doesn't want to have to mandatorily teach something that he doesn't find valuable. I don't understand how that's white privilege, or that's just his opinion. And he's a college professor. I think he's earned the ability to pick and choose what he wants to teach his class. I mean, I think everyone would agree when the government starts telling teachers what they teach and what they can't teach, education goes down. And I think that you could almost say that's an empirical fact. George Bush emplaced every child, no child left behind, which was like a horrible, horrible policy. I know because I grew up in that. Okay, standardized testing all the time, horrible education. Okay, enough said about that. Um, I read this piece. I honestly don't agree with white privilege. I think it's silly. My wife's a Hispanic woman, and she's telling me right now that white privilege is real and it's alive. So that's kind of funny. But let's let's get into this a little bit. I went to the Black Lives Matter webpage and I read every tab. I tried to digest the information. Okay, so this is what I found. Basically, Black Lives Matter is um, an awareness protest kind of movement, right? They're not trying to place policy. They're not advocating um, procedure changes for police. They're not writing their senators. So I don't really understand why these things are not a part of Black Lives Matter. It seems like a awareness for just spreading awareness, I guess, is good. I agree. Black people probably have a little bit rougher time with the police. Okay, how much rougher? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I don't have DOJ statistics in front of me, so I'm not gonna speculate. But I don't think it's probably as big as they think it is. Secondly, uh, the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King. He was he led protests. He also tried to place laws. He also tried to get politicians to change laws. He read Marx. He read Lenin. He read all. He was really into a lot of the great atheist, socialist thinkers. He was really into that. He tried to place policies or advocated for policies to be in place that were redistributing the wealth, for example. He really believed in that and he fought for it. Okay, he didn't win though. So be it. He tried. Um, I think that's a key component that Black Lives is missing. I think that I get they're trying to spread the awareness though. I really do. I acknowledge that. Uh, White privilege. Let's unpack that a little bit. Okay, I think it's a privilege to be born in America. Okay, um, I think it's a privilege not to be born in Afghanistan. I think it's a privilege not to be born in Thailand or Kyrgyzstan. Um, I've been to all three of those countries. I've seen the lives those people live, and it's not the same life that we live here. Not even close. Uh, Liberty's a privilege. Um, Having two parents is a privilege. Straight or gay. Having two parents that don't do drugs is a privilege. I think being wealthy is a privilege. I think that white privilege, I mean, like, what white privilege is like basically saying that I'm supposed to feel guilty or something like that because I'm white. I don't feel guilty for that at all. I do acknowledge that white people, white males especially, they make up 31% of America, and I understand numbers. So statistically, we have a pretty big lobby. White people in general have a pretty big lobby. Numerically, are the majority. I am Native American, but so I guess I don't understand that. I mean, if you looked at me on the street, you wouldn't just be like, "Oh, he's Native American," or you know what I mean? I mean, so like, what is like white privilege really saying? I don't know. It's kind of, to me, I think it's silly because I'm a Democrat registered. I will be voting for Hillary Clinton, and I think this is something that's really crippled the Democratic Party. It's thinking like this. It's like the social justice warriors. They are hurting us. They're hurting this party, and they're doing the same thing that religion does to the conservative party. It just cripples and destroys it. You know, it really does. Then people just think all the Democrats are about is social injustice, or all the Republicans are about is trying to put in silly laws about religion. It's the same thing, different problems. Uh, that's my views on white privilege. I don't believe it's real. So I'd love to hear what other people have to think about this. I'm sure this is probably kind of a controversial thing. Please watch my other videos. I'm not racist. Uh, Thank you.